I am Armonda Riggs, and we are located in eastern Greene County, and our farm is Four Flags Farm. I wanted a lifestyle that farming provides me. And so that was the initiating factor of beginning to farm. In doing so, I get to create good, healthy food that I get to bring to my local community while being a good steward of my land. We grow a lot of diversified product. That is one of the benefits that we find in having a diversified farm, is that we are able to really be active year-round on our farm in doing lots of different endeavors. So during the beginning of the year, we have our maple syrup production. So that is a big time-sensitive operation. So that happens typically January to March. And then during that time, I'm also starting my seeds, so getting everything ready. And then from there, we go into market time. So planting as much early product as we can to be able to take fresh food to our community as soon as possible. So thankfully, having our high tunnel now, we'll be able to do more of that. And then, just producing throughout the rest of the growing season. I primarily produce produce that is open pollinated. So I appreciate saving my seed and having that as a value of our farming operation. Save it and grow it again next year. We have just a little over 31 acres here. We're actually only farming on about 5, maybe 6 acres right now of it. We are actually only getting ready to begin our 4th year here on the farm. So we're pretty excited about the growth potential we have received. Like all of our products that we take to market are well received, and so we're excited about being able to grow our operation and see what that leads for the rest of our future here. But yes, maple syrup is a big part of that because we do have about 26 acres of woods. So having that to utilize for further maple syrup production is pretty exciting. We sell at the Linton Farmers Market, which is on the western side of Greene County, and we're on the eastern side of Greene County. But that's one of the things that we value, is staying as local as possible as we can to where we're producing our food, and really getting that to our local community. We have tried to bring specialized or as unique as possible product to market, and in doing so, we find that's really our niche, and where we have been the most well received is in having those specialty products. And like I said, we grow open pollinated produce, so that gives us an option to promote that. And then additionally, we take the maple syrup, and we're the only vendor that has that product as well. And then we also have mushrooms. So we are the only vendors that also take our mushrooms, both cultivated and wild forage mushrooms. The Indiana Farmer Veteran Coalition had done a mushroom inoculation training 2 springs ago. So this was like the spring we moved here. And so we went to that, we partook in that. And so again, that was like, okay, we're doing it. It's done, this is happening. So we brought home 4 logs from that, and then we immediately went out and cut some logs and started the inoculating. And so now we are up to 354 mushroom logs, and have a goal of bringing mushrooms to market every week next year. I have extracted honey in the past. I did not this year because it's part of my plan to expand my apiary. And so as a responsible beekeeper / bee livestock moderator, I want to be responsible about how I'm growing my apiary. And in growing from my own breeding stock, I decided not to extract honey this year so that next year I can split those hives. And so I'll go from having 3 to 6 hives, and then that will fulfill this apiary I have down here. And then from that, I'm going to continue to grow those hives and create a second apiary up in my forested area so that I have more bees around for pollination. We do live in Indiana, so our local consumers are all about tomatoes. And tomatoes. As you can see, we embrace that and understand that, and so we certainly want to be competitive as far as the tomato market is considered. So again, for us, having the open pollinated varieties, it is a benefit and almost a drawback too, though, because some of our open pollinated varieties aren't as uniform. They're susceptible to cracking more. So I have to do a little more education on, it may not be the prettiest tomato you've ever had, but I bet it's one of the best tasting tomatoes you've ever had. And probably, honestly, one of the most nutritious as well. So for me, that has been a place where I'm able to market that product. And then honestly, like some of them, like people are just interested in them. So that eye appeal can catch as well. And then they're like, whoa, tell me more. And so that gives me a chance to build a relationship with the consumer as well. So pretty exciting. So we have done a variety of different things already. We have plans to do more as well, because I mean, that part of that regenerative mindset is there's always something else that we can help do to help keep healthy soil and also to help improve it as well. So one thing that I enjoy doing is working with my no-till space. So I have a 1/4 acre of not covered production for produce. And so out there, I have done a lot of adding. So I've added a lot of compostable straw and as much vegetable matter as, I don't consume, that goes out there. Also added manure. I have a friend who's a rabbit farmer, and so I get a lot of manure from him. And so I add that into the soil as well, both in the land out there, and I've done it in here too. And then in here, I want to practice the same no-till mindset as well. So once all of this is done, then I'm going to come in and put in hopefully a cover crop, if I can squeeze one in before I start producing some early product for market. That's my plan, is to continue as much effort in keeping the ground covered as I can, because I know that's important. Wow. Honestly, I think there's been quite a few challenges. I think I've said this multiple times to lots of different people. There's no guidebook on how to become a beginning farmer and or be successful at it. So a lot of self-education, a lot of making connections, a lot of, exploring resources. Just that for me has been a really big challenge, because that involves a lot of time. And if I, didn't have to, I guess, invest so much time into that, I could have invested more into actual production, but it goes hand in hand. So there's always going to be more to learn about, which I love. I mean, that's one of the perks of farming in general, is that, it is changing and very dynamic. And I think also people are realizing how important food is now. I think especially with COVID happening, people realize that, food doesn't just come from the grocery store. And so for me, that has been a place, I hate to say it, but I feel like it's been a win for moving more people towards the small farming efforts and embracing that small farm. I know that with our farmers market, we were worried people weren't going to come out, and we had another best year ever at market. So it's been really interesting being a beginning small farmer. especially a female beginning small farmer. I have explored hemp farming, and I did a training in Clay County, I think it was, last December. And I was one of 3 females, I think, there. And the room was packed full of, farmers interested in hemp. And I look like this, and the guy across from me said, well, I didn't think that, someone like you would be interested in this. And I said, okay, well, I am, and I'm here, and I'm super interested just as much as you are. So, let's do this together, kind of a thing. And so that was definitely an empowering opportunity, I think, if anything, to keep smiling, to say, hey, that's fine. You obviously have your opinion, but you're not going anywhere. So, so that has been, I guess, another challenge that I have come across, is that, people have perceptions or stereotypes or biases or whatever you might call them. And I've hopefully am trying to show them that those are not the case, and that there can be different situations that they don't always understand, or maybe aren't ready to accept yet, but it's happening. So here we are. Yeah, that's interesting, because I was just thinking about that today when I was like, gosh, I don't have a whole lot to show them, because, we have only been here a short time. And in 5 years, I see myself having another property even, and doing more silvopasturing, grazing, having more livestock. I'm really interested in having more livestock. We just don't have that type of property here to do that. So I see some sort of, second site, and expanding more, and just, there's room for growth. And I think that now more than ever, people see, I feel like the last, really, I've been steering towards farming and involved in small farming for at least the last 6 years. And I think at that time, it has been us just grinding along. And I think now is really, it's happening. We don't have a choice. A lot of people, again, realize our food system is broken, and we should be shipping in 90+% of our food from out of state. So let's do something about it. And here we are, we're doing it. So for me, the path that I was able to go down to becoming a beginning farmer, I utilized a lot of education that was happening through the Beginning Farmer Rancher Development Program, that was happening through the last Farm Bill, not the one that was passed in 18, but the one that was in 14. So they had the Beginning Farmer Rancher Development Program funding in there. And that funding was initiated because a large portion of our farming population is in retirement age. And so we need beginning farmers, we need new farmers, we need small farmers. And so I did a lot of training sessions that were offered through our land grant universities. So at that time, I was actually living in Iowa. So I traveled actually to Illinois and Indiana a lot, because they seem to have had a lot more programming happening, mainly through Purdue, to be honest. And so I took part in, I can't even tell you. I know I have them written down somewhere, because at one point I was like, I need to start documenting all this stuff before I forget, like what exactly, because somebody comes to me and says, well, what do you know about what do you know? And I'm like, well, I've only put in, 120 hours of, education or whatever. So yeah, that was amazing to be able to partake in those training sessions and to connect with other small farmers who had been doing this and who were able to validate, yes, this can be done, was through the Beginning Farmer Rancher Developer program. They were full day learning sessions, and they were split. Half the day you did a learning in class, and the other half you did a tour on farm. Amazing. I did 3 of those. And again, I was traveling from out of state. So this was very important to me to know, because we wanted to come back to Indiana. We didn't leave Indiana because we hated it. We left because we both graduated from Purdue in 2008 and it was recession. So we had to go seek jobs elsewhere to pay off student loan debt. And we knew when we got that student loan debt paid off that we were going to be going into small farming. So we had figured that out in Iowa. And so, yeah, it was really awesome to partake in those sessions and to get to interact with these small farmers who were doing this and validate, like, this is what I want to do, right? Maybe not in the exact time frame or the exact, way they were doing it, but that it could be done, and to, not lessen our desire to do it. So we made goals and we continued to learn, and it was really, really awesome to make that happen. And I'm excited that we're continuing those efforts and steamrolling on this, that we do need more small farmers.